Today marks 1 year since This Mom Knows first launched, and what a year it has been. And while I have learned a lot and I've enjoyed recording and publishing episodes each week, it's really you who've made This Mom Knows an impactful podcast. You faithfully listen and learn from other moms and mompreneurs who know things that you might not yet know. And you share episodes with other moms who you think will find them meaningful and encouraging. So thank you. To celebrate, I thought I would do a top 10 style recap of the episodes that resonated most with you. So in not wanting to let anyone down by saying no, I was letting everyone down by saying yes. Nothing was being done well and no one was being served. First on the list is episode 3, where I share my story of overwhelm. So many of you resonated with simply being overwhelmed and not always knowing how to begin to turn things around. When I hear that episode, I am so grateful. In the middle of that season, I couldn't see any hope or any way out of it. But on this side of things, I realize what an honor and privilege it is to allow my story to serve and encourage you.
I remember thinking back in that time where I just carried around this kind of cloud over me of just sadness and sorrow and grief and just then shame and just feeling like I'm the mom of that kid.
Next is episode 5 with Crystal Payne. This one really resonated with so many of you because in Crystal's vulnerability, she leveled the playing ground. She opened the door to conversations that many of us didn't know how to have, and she showed us that the heart of being a mom is relationship, that all the rest, the business, the systems, church, and school, they play supporting roles so that we can be the mom our children need. While this episode will encourage you, her book will encourage you even more. And if you haven't read it yet, I hope you do. We were not looking to adopt. We were not foster care certified. We were not applying anywhere. We had done no home studies. We were 0 on the scale of 1 to 10 in our readiness for adoption. Episode 6 is near and dear to me because it's the story of our surprise adoption. It was in the midst of our overwhelm when God decided to add these sweet babies to our family. But it was through this experience that He opened my eyes to see that I needed to shift my focus from what I did to who I served. And the first people in line were the people in my home. I hope this episode encourages you too to say yes to the good things that God has for you. The thing is, we make plans and we create rhythms and routines in a fantasy land. There is no year for the mompreneur that doesn't encompass regularly scheduled disruptions. To act otherwise is not living in reality. Another episode you were encouraged by was episode 35. As moms, life with kids can feel like a constant stream of interruptions to the calendar. And as a result, we tend to bemoan the disruption and long for the return of normal. But what if instead we prepared for those disruptions and saw them as breaks? This episode helps us reframe how we view our time so we can leverage it to meet our goals.
I believe that as visionary leaders, entrepreneurs, moms, whatever, the world needs us elevated. And they need us elevated so that we can make an impactful contribution that we were here to make. And the only way to do that is to free up time and space in our life to actually do those things.
If you feel like you need to do it all yourself, then episode 39 is for you. So many of you commented that delegating can feel like a luxury. This episode is permission to delegate without feeling guilty. In fact, Emily Morgan makes a strong case for why not delegating is actually the unhealthy approach. She has practiced what she preaches and has a thriving business where she does the things she's best at and delegates the rest to the team she's built around her. If you're not sure how or where to start with delegating, by the way, a good companion episode is episode 48 on systems. And how is that related, you might be wondering? Well, a good system is going to begin to help you to identify what exactly you can delegate.
all of their like extended support had dwindled. There wasn't really anybody around that was still giving them constant support. And they're like, this opportunity enveloped us in support.
This one, episode 41, is one of your favorites by far. Melissa Tubergen shows us that nonprofits are entrepreneurial too. She took such a simple idea, providing a place for adoptive families to retreat to, and turned it into a reality. Give Hope RV is growing rapidly and serving hundreds of families. But what really resonated with so many of you was the idea that you can be a mompreneur without starting a business. Entrepreneurialism can be creative and may just be a different way of solving a problem.
But when you can pool it and it's an $11,000 grant, then it's a program. It can be part-time help. It can be something more substantial. So it's a good use of our time and it's a good use of our resources because we have more impact.
Entrepreneurs are problem solvers, but all the problems can be overwhelming. Episode 43 with Carolyn Dunn shares a simple way to make a big impact on solving some of these problems. She has taken the idea of a giving circle and simplified it so that anyone can do it. She also shares with us all the deep benefits of being generous and the impact that it has on you personally. Every team is comprised of people, systems, and tools that support the mission of that team. And as a mompreneur, you have made it your mission to build a business without compromising your role as mom. Episode 44 was one that you loved because it changed your view on services and people who could make your life easier. You've messaged me things like, I used my mom team and placed an order for grocery delivery. Or meet my Roomba, the newest member of my mom team. Thinking about who is on your mom team lifted a burden and helped you breathe deeply.
And it's not that you're not equipped, it's just you need the support. You need items that support you managing this onslaught of information and education that you weren't prepared to receive.
Amanda Cunningham will tell you she is the most unlikely of mompreneurs. She shares in episode 45 that when she had a need, she couldn't find the solution to support her. So she created her own. And as she used it and it worked well for her, she realized that it could serve other families facing the same challenges she was. And she was right. You loved this because it encouraged you that everything you do is a learning opportunity. And you never know, it just might be the start of your business. The secret to time is having the energy to do the things that you want to do when you want to do them. Of all the episodes this year, you have really noodled on this one. In episode 49, we talk about time versus energy. And for so many of you, this was a light bulb moment. And it's changed the way that you're starting to think about your time. You're moving things around and adding systems to support you so that you have the energy for the things that matter to you. That was so fun for me to look back over this past year, and I hope you enjoyed it too. And I'm really excited for what this next year will bring, and I'm so glad that you're here for it with me.